Hi, my name is Cheryl McCumsey. I'm the coordinator for Pesticide Free Edmonton and felt that it is important that I share this information in a video rather than wait for mainstream media to pick it up. Even if you do not live in Edmonton, I think this story shows how all or several levels of government are operating, and this is a concern to me and many other people all across Canada. I have tried to condense the information. First, I want to point out that Health Canada does not do the studies when registering any product for use in our country. The Director for Landscaping Alberta had said in a city meeting that third-party independent studies are done when registering pesticides. I have a letter here from Health Canada in which I asked, when registering a pesticide for use in Canada, the manufacturers provide the necessary studies done by a laboratory of their choice for Health Canada to review. True or false? Their answer, true. This is the letter. Next, I think it's important to discuss how pesticides are able to find their way into our bodies. This BC agricultural website shows how we can ingest or inhale a pesticide. So you can go to their page if you wish to see this. And another route of absorption, they talk about ingesting or inhaling a pesticide, but another route of absorption is through the skin, which is, in their words, faster in the head area than if you ingest it. So my topic today, however, is about how our city uses Dursban to kill the larvae of mosquitoes. Chlorpyrifos is the active ingredient in Dursban. It was originally developed in Germany during the Second World War by the Farben Company as a nerve gas agent. Studies show exposure to low levels of this interferes with the healthy development of the human nervous system. Symptoms of low-dose exposure may include headaches, agitation, inability to concentrate, weakness, tiredness, nausea, diarrhea, and blurred vision. Chlorpyrifos is an organic phosphorus pesticide which blocks an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase that our brains need to control nerve impulses. ADHD, autism, delayed cognitive development, reduced birth weight, and leukemia are just a few of many health issues associated with it. A recent study shows women exposed to this have increased chance of having their children having autism by 3 times. It is also extremely toxic to fish, aquatic organisms, and bees, and so on. Other criteria which make this a concern are its ability to persist in the environment. There is evidence that the half-life of this chemical in water is greater than 2 months, meaning half of it still remains, and in soil the half-life is up to 4 years. This makes it more desirable in that it persists for killing mosquitoes, but certainly more of a concern in how this makes it more available to other species, including us. Persistence increases with colder temperatures and increased organic matter. In regulating this pesticide, bioaccumulation studies were not required, but those that are available show a significant degree of bioaccumulation in a number of species. This pesticide also shows levels measured in locations very distant from the sources of its release. It is often found, or it is found consistently in Arctic media, including air, snow, seawater, fish, lake sediment, and vegetation, at least as early as 1972. These characteristics, along with its potency as a neurotoxin at low levels of exposure, make it a serious concern. Many peer-reviewed studies and journals, like The Lancet, support these concerns. CBC stories from June of 2000 reflect on how both the US EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, and Canada's PMRA, which is the Pesticide Management Regulatory Agency, wished to outlaw this pesticide. The health minister, Alan Rock, back then, had stated that his department had been trying to get companies to voluntarily withdraw it, and he accused them of reneging on a deal which forced him to ban the chemical directly. This phasing out allowed municipalities to use the reserves of this pesticide. Another story states how the citizens of Winnipeg wished to see this discontinued as they felt their children were at risk by using this dangerous pesticide. In news stories and by email, I see that Winnipeg is no longer using this pesticide. It appears that Edmonton is the only municipality in North America that continues to use it. An Edmonton Parks Department report from 2011 stated that 2014 would be the last year the city would be using this pesticide. In a meeting of July 2014, the parks employees had stated that this would no longer be used as registration would run out in December 2014, and they would be sending any remaining product to Swan Hills. In March, however, the city purchased 10,000 kilograms of Dursban from Winnipeg, and then again another 6,000 kilograms in November. And here I have the purchase, a copy of the purchase of this from Winnipeg to Edmonton. So I'm reading, and then in May of 2014, the County of Sturgeon announced that they were not giving permission to the city to spray on county-owned properties any longer. The city has a form which those in surrounding areas can sign to request that they discontinue spraying this. Those within the city do not have this option. On this form, it states that Health Canada has also deemed these insecticides safe, and that the City of Edmonton accepts all costs, responsibilities, and liability in undertaking mosquito control on your property. And this is the form that I'm speaking of, where it says Health Canada deems it safe. Now I am reading from a Parker Walkman law firm webpage that states the following. In 2003, Dow Chemical, who produces this insecticide, or did produce, agreed to pay $2 million, the largest penalty ever in a pesticide case, to the state of New York. The state had filed suit against Dow for repeatedly violating a 1994 agreement that prohibited advertising that touted the safety of its pesticide products. Dow has faced allegations that it withheld information about Dursban's risks and marketed it as a safe pesticide despite knowing the opposite was true. In 1995, for instance, Dow was fined $732,000 for not sending the EPA its reports on 249 Dursban poisoning incidents. That's on this law firm's webpage. You can read that and more. I suggest to anyone here, just attempt to see how easy it is to report a pesticide poisoning incident. Contact the federal government and see how easy it is to actually do. There is no doubt that this is grossly underreported for a number of reasons, if people are even capable of recognizing when they have been exposed. This all came onto my radar when I was approached by a woman in the Sturgeon County who had contacted the city in regards to her wish to see the city discontinue spraying by her property. She had photos of helicopters. So this is a photo. Her property line, the helicopter. She had photos of these helicopters and noted that the fish in her pond, not just the fish, the bees and so on, died shortly after applications of what she believed to be Dursban. She mentioned to me that several people in her area have suffered from cancer, including her husband and herself. On the label for Dursban, it states, "This product is not to be used in and around homes or other residential areas like parks, school grounds, and playing fields. This is the label from Dursban, which states what I just spoke. So, where was I? This is a map here that I'm going to show you that shows the areas that are controlled by Edmonton's mosquito program, abatement program. So when you look at this map, you can see the boundaries of the city here. And you can see areas outside of that boundary that border on other municipalities around the city. This area is complete control. This is limited control. And this goes all the way around St. Albert. So you can see this goes a long ways in and around the city. So I decided to apply to the city for information to see exactly where Dursban was being applied. I received this information in July of last year with dates and amounts, with what was applied, but with the locations missing. So this is some of what I received, and it has dates, amounts with where the locations are supposed to be down here, but that's missing. That information is missing. The reason that they told me that this information is not being disclosed is because they withheld that because of the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act. Although on the label it states not to be used near residential areas, so that was confusing to me. So this is the letter that states that they will not be disclosing this. After I went to the Alberta Privacy Commissioner, I got a letter that stated they were going to be disclosing this information. And what I got was a grid map of these areas. This is kind of like what I got. I got all of these pages again with locations that would have referred to these grids here. So we would have, for instance, northeast, and it would say B8, for instance. Okay, so what I did is the ones that I could actually see and read that were clear, I took those locations and mapped them out. This is only for part of the year, it's not for the entire year. This is ground applications. This is the ground applications, and this is the border here for the city. So you can see that a lot of these are within the city, and these are the little red marks that I made where these applications were made. And some of them, of course, were done numerous times, so I would make an extra tick mark to sort of give an idea of how often some areas were visited. There's quite a lot. That's only some of them. And then I also took the aerial applications, and I did the same thing. And you can see again, when you look at the border of the city, here, and over here, right there, that there still is a number of applications within the boundaries of the city by helicopter as well. So just to take a peek at that. This is only, again, a portion of the year because I'm actually still receiving information about that. I haven't received it all yet. So these are the ones that I was able to decipher. The 3 dates that were given to me by this woman who lived in Sturgeon County coincide with the helicopter applications in this area where she lives. She told me that Alberta Environment stated to her that the city denies they sprayed near her property, and nothing further has been done. The city of Edmonton has instructions that they give to employees for using Dursban for ground applications. They state not to spray if the wind speeds exceed 16 kilometers per hour, which is actually quite high wind for applying any pesticide. And so my question is, how windy do you think it is underneath a helicopter? And this is the statement for how applicators are supposed to apply this. So that's another thing. So with my concern about this, what I did is I wrote several letters to Health Canada, and I received a publication dated from 2007, which states that a decision was made to maintain registration for the larvicidal use of granular and liquid formulations of chlorpyrifos aerial ground application at the request of certain municipalities in Alberta, which apparently means Edmonton, as no other municipality continues to use this. I've contacted them, and they all tell me they haven't used it, some of them since 1994. So I pressed Health Canada further in wondering why this was now again re-registered to December 2019 with no further evaluation. And I received an email stating that they are reviewing this now. Reviewing it after registering it. So this is the Health Canada document. And this is the page discusses how they're registering it. It says Alberta, municipalities of Alberta and Manitoba, and Winnipeg was the other one that no longer uses this anymore. So it's just Edmonton. So the city stated that it's necessary to spray Dursban due to our disease vectoring mosquitoes, in which they were referring to West Nile disease. I think it's worth noting that Winnipeg, which will discontinue using Dursban, had one case in 2014, whereas Edmonton did not even have one reported case. There are alternatives to treat mosquito populations that Edmonton and other municipalities currently use. I want to show you Yes, here we are. So this is a summary of cases for Edmonton. So when we look, we had one case in 2013, and before that it was 2007, 8 cases. And when you look at the province as a whole, it is what you would expect for West Nile. Southern areas in the province have more cases. This is one specific species, which we don't have tons of. And when we look at what the CDC says about West Nile, they say, the CDC says less than 1% of those infected with West Nile virus will develop severe illness. So I'm not saying don't spray for mosquitoes, I'm saying don't spray Dursban. And then I'm looking at the disease vectoring mosquitoes and I'm going, really? Okay, so the risk of this insecticide is obvious, and considering there are alternatives, other jurisdictions who are using are using these alternatives have a higher risk of the disease. I find it appalling that our city government refuses to consider the serious consequences of their actions. The damage this insecticide can and likely is doing is considerable when alternatives exist. And contacting Alberta Environment and the Sustainable Resource Development Department, they say talk to the city, talk to Health Canada, although they have the ability to ban products in our provinces, and they regulate the use of these products. Ontario has banned the sale of 295 pesticide products, whereas Alberta has banned 1. It appears that Health Canada offers nothing more than that municipalities can request registration of this product, and the city uses Health Canada as a standard for safety. Dow Chemical was sued on this. The implications in regards to the health of approximately 1 million people are in whose hands? If you wish to make a difference in this issue, I suggest you contact your counselor, your mayor, the media, your neighbor, your province and federal government, and ask how this is happening and why is this acceptable. Call the city and ask to be removed from their spray zones. And thank you for listening.